What is going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and today we're going to talk about the boy, the pink boy, the dead boy, Lars Bariega, Gars Bodega. So I want to talk about what's going to happen with Lars once/if he ends up going back to Earth. We know he is on the way to Earth right now. We know he's going there with the off-colors in the ship. That is where he is headed. That is his destination. That is 100% confirmed. Whether or not he'll actually make it, that's a completely different story. But I kind of want to talk about a mixture of what's going to happen on Earth and sort of how it ties into this scene right here. That's pulled up on the screen. A lot of people were not happy about this scene. It kind of didn't look good for Lars. And I'm kind of inclined to agree with this scene. So basically, Lars had this huge development. He went to space. He got kidnapped on a homeworld ship with Steven. He ended up escaping the Diamond Court with Steven. He died. Steven brought him back to life. There's this whole huge heartfelt moment that he had with him. It was great, and it seemed like Lars finally got it. It seemed like Lars was kind of owning up to his mistakes, owning up to his shortcomings, and his character development, his character arc was coming full swing. It was like, okay, this is the end of most of Lars's character development. Still a couple loose ends, but for the most part, Lars is like his full transition. Because over the few seasons, you know, we've had Steven kind of being talked down from Lars. Lars is just talking down to Steven, kind of bullying him, just being an overall jerk all the time. And he got a little better over time, a little bit of development as Steven and Lars spent more time together. But this was like the big thing. This was like kind of all that encompassed, and Lars finally kind of owning up to him being his Lars self and truly coming to terms with who he is as a person and who Steven is as a person, and just becoming a better person and just having that character development. And a lot of people felt like this scene kind of set him back because Lars was kind of asking about Sadie. Steven showed Lars Sadie and the Killer, Sadie Killer, whatever, I forget the band name, but the new band with the cool kids. And he is salty that she's having fun without him, and he's salty that she's with the cool kids specifically, which is like kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that he's so concerned with the cool kids as his ship's getting attacked. Granted, you could argue that his ship getting attacked is just, he's not worried about that because he's just that good of a space pirate. So he's so confident in himself now that he's not even worried about this. He's just worried about Sadie having fun without him. But the thing is, he's literally angry at her. He's not just like jealous, right? He's just mad, which I guess he's jealous, but he's just like, he feels like Sadie's doing it to hurt Lars for whatever reason. Maybe he feels like she doesn't forgive him for not saving her life or attempting to save her life back on the ship where Topaz was just completely bodying everybody. Maybe that's what's going on through his head. But the fact that he's still mentioning the cool kids after all this, he went to space, he went to homeworld with Steven, he died, he came back to life, he's basically immortal now, and he's still out here worried about the cool kids. And it's like, really, my guy? Really worried about the cool kids right now and Sadie? So it really set his character back a little bit. It seemed like everything that it felt like that he learned over this time and his character arc was leading to, it kind of just brought him back to classic Lars. Lars just being his Lars self, his selfish, ignorant, irrational, mean / insecure self all over again. After all this that we've been through, he's a space pirate, he's super badass, he's sick, he's stealing homeworld ships, he's commanding gems, he's a boss, and he's still talking about the cool kids. It kind of set him back, and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way. I personally didn't like that thing about it. What would this mean if he comes back to Earth? Well, I'm hoping, we had this whole scene with Connie and Steven trying to explain to Lars, hey man, you're being stupid. I'm hoping that this scene, after they fuse, it seems like he sort of gets it here a little bit. If you see the look in his face, it's like, okay, I get it now, right? I hope that's it. I hope we don't have to go back to this and have this talk with Lars again, or any similar talk with Lars like this again. I hope we can just leave it at this. He gets it after Steven and Connie explain that Sadie is not doing this to make you angry. She's doing it because she's her own person and life goes on and she can't wait for you forever to live her life, which is a great lesson. Awesome lesson, just in general, right? if you ever have a friend who dies in space and you don't know when they're coming back, I'm hoping after Steven and Connie explain it, we don't need to explain it again. We don't have to have a moment where this happens. Because if you remember, like an ube cake, he was kind of nervous about it. And then Steven was like, hey, you're being dumb. And then Lars was like, alright, dope. You're right, I am being dumb. Let's do this. Let's get it. And then he throws a cake in the trash, and it's like, that's fine. They kind of do like a multiple reversal thing where it's like, okay, maybe he threw it in the trash. Oh man, Lars will never change, I guess. And then it's like, oh, he got kidnapped. Guess he didn't throw it in the trash. And then it's revealed, oh, Lars actually did throw it in the trash and run away, and then he was kidnapped. Okay, then Lars learns his lesson, becomes a better person, becomes a space pirate, and then he goes back to this. And then Steven and Connie have to come back and say, hey, you're being dumb. So we can't keep doing this, right? And that's just life in general, right? Someone's gonna keep being dumb and irrational and unfair all the time. You can't just keep doing this, right? Eventually it gets exhausting. That was kind of a lesson at the end of Good Lars, where Sadie was like, you know, sometimes I just want him to be happy, and maybe I just have to worry about my own happiness, right? That was a good lesson, and that's kind of the lesson we're gonna get to if worse comes to worse. So here's what's gonna happen. If they get to Earth, that's assuming they get to Earth. If they get to Earth, then one of two things are gonna happen. If they get to Earth, Lars is either gonna be his Lars self, he's not gonna have learned anything, even though he should have, right? He's gonna be a complete jerk and be irrational and dumb and stupid. And Sadie's gonna be like, you know what? I'm sick of your nonsense, okay? I'm just gonna go hang with the cool kids, you just do you, whatever. I'm over this. And at that point, what might happen is Lars, you know, he doesn't have Sadie anymore. Sadie's just kind of over him, even though they obviously pretty much love each other. And Lars is gonna be like, you know what, screw this, life here is boring, I'm just gonna go to space and just stay in space. That could happen. Or Lars learns his lesson, he finally truly confesses his love to Sadie, he finally gets it in his head, and then they get together and they're a thing, and then he could just relax around the cool kids and be just fine. And I'm sure the cool kids would actually totally dig his new look. Like, he's got the cape, he's got the gauges now, he's pink, he's got the scar. Like, the cool kids would totally dig his look right now. Like, they would totally be all up on that, and they could even probably add him to the band as like a mascot or something crazy. All they need to do is like do that, and then he's fine, and then he's with the cool kids, he's cool, he's with Sadie, they're dating, everything's gooch, everything's good. I don't know how they're gonna get past the whole I'm immortal thing. That's kind of a large hurdle to jump, or at least addressed eventually in the series. Those are the two main things. That's assuming they actually get back. Other possibilities is they don't get back because of an emergency, something drastic happens, they meet a new threat, and then they either somehow send a distress signal to the other gems, which I don't know how they would do that. Communication hub is completely destroyed, so I'm not sure if that's even remotely possible. Or they end up meeting up with Lapis in space somehow, and they get into an altercation, not with Lapis, but Lapis is somehow involved with this altercation, which would be great dramatic irony because Lapis specifically left Earth to avoid drama, and then Lapis just happens to run into Lars and the Off-Colors as they're like being chased by Emerald or something crazy, some other homeworld elite, and Lapis kind of gets sucked into it. That'd be pretty interesting. Or Steven just realizes that Lars has been gone for a while, and then we get an episode in like, you know, 8 months where Steven ends up worried and goes into Lion's Mane to check on Lars, see, hey man, where you at? And it turns out they're like in a crazy homeworld prison somewhere in space. I don't know if we're gonna do a whole escape someone out of a locked confinement from space thing again, because we already did that with Greg in the zoo, so I don't know if they do that, but they could go a different route with it. Depends how they handle it, but those are pretty much most of the options. Obviously other things could happen, and that's not really accounting for the Off-Colors personality, what they want, what their desires are, because I feel like it's gonna be hard to bring the Off-Colors onto Earth. There's not a lot of time for them to shine writing wise, because you already got the other gems. Now Peridot's living in the temple again. Like, they already gave Peridot and Lapis their own separate confinement because spatially wouldn't have made sense, and also writing wise, it would just been too many gems at one place. So I'm not sure how they would do that. They could theoretically just land the ship somewhere and just live on the ship. Don't know where that would be, but that would just be a lot of interaction. I'm down for it. It just, you know, as long as they can balance it out right, which I'm sure they probably could. And it would be probably some pretty interesting backstory on like Pink Diamond's court and stuff, because they're pretty much all from Pink Diamond's court, except for like Fluorite, which has some Blue Diamond court gems in her, I believe. So that'd be pretty dope. That could kind of lead us to some cool flashbacks if they do it right. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. What do you think is going to happen to Lars? Do you think he's going to get back? Do you think he's not going to get back? Is he going to have some altercation in space? And if he gets back, is he going to finally learn his lesson? He's going to stop being such a doucher and just relax and finally get it? Or are we going to revert back to classic Lars again, giving another back and forth again, and then he's going to have this whole altercation with Sadie? Like, do you think he's finally learned his lesson or not? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we do more Steven videos, because we got we got coughs. We got plenty of other Steven videos coming your way pretty soon, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've been MYKAL Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.